What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Watch Us Thrive podcast. This is your host, Leanne, and I'm super excited to be back. I've been taking a break when it comes to creating new content for the podcast. If y'all have been loyal listeners from the beginning, you know that I take a 6-week long hiatus from creating any new content for the show between right before Thanksgiving into the new year. So this is my time to rest, to recharge, to continue working on my business and my brand behind the scenes. But there is a little bit of a shift that has been happening recently with my content. I remember in the beginning of 2024 that I had posted this video of me just complaining that I feel like my content has been falling on deaf ears and that I have been having a really hard time with reaching my people. That was in February of 2024. And it's wild what intention and maybe a little bit of manifestation and just abundant thinking can do, because literally 5 months later, in July of 2024, I posted a reel that went insanely viral on my Instagram account. And ever since July of 2024, my Instagram has grown substantially. My Facebook account, which was so hard for me to grow since I started Watch Us Thrive in January of 2022, I was stuck at about 300 followers. And to date, I believe I'm at a little over 31,000 Facebook followers. The fact that I've just been so intentional with this platform, I've been so intentional with growing it, I've been so intentional with the content that I like to either create myself or repost and give credit, obviously, to the original content creators. But I think a really important lesson, and I think this is a great segue into getting into my top 10 lessons to carry into 2025, is that keep fucking showing up, y'all. Because I promise you, people are watching what you're doing. And let me back this up with a little bit more fact behind this statement, okay? Let's gather some data, if you will, and look at the numbers, crunch the numbers, if you will. A lot of you know if you've been around here, but if you're meeting me for the first time, that I'm a domestic violence survivor and advocate, and I almost lost my life in an abusive relationship that started out during the COVID-19 pandemic. I have always since then have advocated for survivors of trauma and abuse, but specifically domestic violence survivors. And I'm very intentional with the content that I put out there in regards to advocating for women in toxic and abusive relationships, right? And I started following the National Domestic Violence Hotline on Instagram. And every so often, when I would post a reel or some sort of content that had to do with domestic violence, I would tag them in it, or I would put their information in the caption in order to learn how to reach out to the hotline. And, nothing ever came of it for a really long time. And then in April of this year, I'm sitting at this desk where I record all my content in my bedroom, my tiny little bedroom that I love so much. And I get a notification on my phone from my podcasting email that someone from the National Domestic Violence Hotline social media department wants to reach out to me to see if I would be interested in a collaboration with the hotline. Now, let me tell y'all something. Being a solopreneur and a content creator and a podcaster, I have a lot of spam email and I have a lot of people who reach out to me wanting to pitch themselves to be on the show. But I'm very selective now, 160 something episodes in, with the people that I bring on the show. In the beginning, I would let Tom, Dick, and Harry on and we just going to talk about it because I was still figuring out what I wanted the show to really be about. But I knew I wanted it to be about relationships and trauma and healing and so on and so forth. So the first thing I did when I saw that email from the hotline, because, I'm skeptical. I've been through trauma. I'm a trauma survivor. My trust issues are not great, and I'm aware of them, and I'm trying to work through them, but it's a process. I checked the email address to make sure it's not coming from some spam bot, because I almost got bamboozled. That's another story for another day. When I had a business back in the day before COVID that fell through the cracks, so to say, and I almost got bamboozled. out of a scam that was very similar to the email that I got. But when I got the email and I saw it was literally from the hotline, and I know the hotline's website like the back of my hand and the phone number because I was promoting it so much, they ended up started following me before all of this happened. They followed me back on Instagram. I was like, holy shit, this is a big deal. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is following me? Wow. Okay, cool. But then me continuing to be persistent and consistent and intentional and vulnerable and transparent and real, all of that correlates to them finding my page because I kept tagging them and I kept putting them in the caption and I kept doing all these things, promoting them. I kept talking about my story. I kept showing up. And in October of this year, I interviewed a actual advocate who works at the National Domestic Violence Hotline and literally got a behind the scenes episode, video and audio, of what happens when someone reaches out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And that was I got paid for my very first brand deal that sought me out. And all of that happened because I kept showing up on social media. So that is number one lesson that I have learned this year, is to be so fucking intentional with what it is that you want to do with your life, and then stop giving up. Stop letting go because it's not happening fast enough. And I still struggle with this concept when it comes to my weight loss. If you guys know, I had weight loss surgery in November of 2022, and I've lost to date about 65 to 70 pounds. I've been yo-yoing back and forth between 10 and 20 pound weight gain and weight loss for over a year. And it's been super frustrating. But my weight loss journey and my fitness journey has been such a struggle for me for my entire life. And it's because I gave up too quickly, because the results weren't happening fast enough, because I lost the motivation, because the discipline, because there's so many bullshit excuses that we hold on to as to why we can't do what we do. But I think it's so fucking important to just do it anyway. Do the scary fucking thing anyway. Show up afraid. Show up raw. Show up real. Show up no makeup, no filters. Just be yourself and keep showing up. That's the only way that you're going to be able to grow when it comes to wanting to be a content creator and wanting to start getting podcast sponsorships and brand deals. You need to show up. You need to talk about what it is that you're talking about, and you need to do it constantly, y'all. You're gonna get so fucking sick and tired of hearing yourself say the same thing a million different ways. But that's what it is if you want to be someone who eventually will work for yourself. That is my goal, y'all. My goal, my big dream goal, is to have my own podcasting studio with an entire crew who will be able to record in studio. I can interview huge guests like, I don't fucking know, Oprah Winfrey and fucking Kim Kardashian and, Jay Shetty and Mel Robbins and Brene Brown and all these really big people in the healing space. Gary Vee. What? I want to be talking on stages that are tens of thousands of people paying money to come see me to do live coaching. Think of like the Long Island Medium, you know how she does that for the afterlife. I want to do that shit for like self-love and domestic violence awareness and relationships and growing and healing and letting go of dusty ass men who are stressing you the fuck out and messing up your pH balance. I think of Ace Metaphor, huge, huge content creator. He created Tonight's Conversation. He has an entire podcast that you have to pay to listen and watch. He goes on fucking tours with groups of other Black and brown relationship coaches and gurus and podcasters like Keita Rose, and I'm blanking on the fucking names. I see them all the time, but shout out to Tonight's Conversation. I love their content. I want to do things like that, but for women, for domestic violence survivors, for trauma survivors. I remember in the beginning when I started this and I would be a guest on podcasts and they would be like, so what's the big picture? Like, what do you see for yourself in the future? And I would say, I want to be the Latina Dr. Phil. I want to have my own TV show. I want to have my own podcast on Sirius XM, like the Howard Stern show or like the Joe Rogan Experience. Like, I want to be up there. I want to be a known podcaster, motivational speaker, self-love coach, advocate. I want to do so much more to give back to the community. And I want to do more nonprofit work. So what's another thing that I got cooking up in 2025? I applied for a volunteer position to work part-time as a domestic violence advocate for the city that I live in right now. Like at the police department. I literally applied to be a volunteer. This is a volunteer, so I'm not getting paid. This is unpaid labor. This is just me because I'm a good person and I want to give back. So I volunteered and I applied to volunteer to be an advocate for women who are in crisis when it comes to domestic violence. And I have not really an interview, but a call with a director from that department because I also pitched my podcast to them and pitched the idea of doing some sort of event or collaboration where they come onto my podcast, like I did with the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and we have a conversation and we bring awareness to what the local work that they're doing in my city and state. And now I got a phone call with someone to talk about it on Monday. And then the same day on Monday, I'm going to start my introduction training that is mandatory. I have to do mandatory 40 hours of DV training. I have to take tests. I have to, I believe, do like a mock scenario in front of the people to see if I can handle this or not. Like, this is like you volunteering to be an EMS or like volunteering to work at your local nonprofit. Like, I want to do more to give back. Okay. And you know what's crazy? This wasn't even on my list of notes that I have. But I just felt like because this is the season 4 opener and because we're in a new year right now and a lot of people have new year resolutions, new year, new me, I'm ready for a change, blah, blah, blah. I think this is really good energy to start off the year with, while also taking time to reflect back on the things that we've accomplished within this past year. Because if you had a challenging year like I have, it is really hard to see the good things that you've done because the dark, heavy things get very clouded and very dark and very muddy. So I think it's important for us to always work towards your goals, but to also take some time to reflect and think back about like, yo, I did that. I really collaborated with the National Domestic Violence Hotline this year. I had my very first speaking engagement in person this year. Didn't get paid for it, but it was my first opportunity to be able to tell my story on a stage in a room full of amazing women who are all about healing and empowerment and thriving. It was amazing. Shout out to she's actually my coach, Josie Maldonado, and the Fierce Femme Tribe that I'm a part of, which is my group coaching program. I get so excited when I think about it because I've really neglected that too. We'll get into that. But my coach gave me the opportunity to share my story for the first time because she knows I want to be a speaker. I did it and I cried and I was so nervous and I wanted to not do it. I wanted to cancel the day of. And she actually told me, I thought that you weren't going to come through because I've been so flaky with showing up, which is another problem of mine that I'm working on getting better at. It's in 2025 because the depression has been real, y'all. The depression, oh, it's been bad, but that's neither here nor there. But she gave me the opportunity. And now I feel so much more confident as myself being a speaker. So you want to show up differently in 2025, sis, you got to do something different. Now, let's get into the actual top 10 list of 10 lessons to carry in 2025. Number 1 lesson to carry into 2025. All relationships are mirrors. Every relationship reflects what you believe you deserve. If you've been accepting half efforts or disrespect, it is time to start questioning why. Recognizing this truth sets you free to seek connections that honor your worth. The relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship that you have in your life. That dictates how you are as a person. Not just the toxic, abusive, romantic relationships. Every single relationship, whether it's family, friend, coworker, your man, whoever, if you don't have a solid relationship with yourself, it's going to bleed and infect every other relationship in your life. It's going to be the decision making person in your relationship. And I speak from experience because that was the person I was when I met my abusive ex in 2020. I've been y'all. So I understand why it's so difficult to walk away from these dead end relationships. But if you expect to be in a different part of your life this day next year, and you've done nothing to change the circumstances or the people around you, you're going to be complaining about the same things that you complained about in December 2024 in December 2025. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So start getting some fucking standards and boundaries and let go of the motherfucking people who are holding you down and bringing you down to their shitty toxic level. Number 2 lesson to carry into 2025. Never beg someone to stay in your life. If they want to leave or they want you to leave, let them go or walk away. Clinging to someone who doesn't value you only delays your healing, sis. So in 2025, I want you to choose to release anyone who isn't showing up for you fully. It is okay to cut off relationships that are no longer serving your highest self. You staying in these fucked up toxic relationship, work situations, family relationships, friendships, co-working situations, but you won't walk away because it's so fucking hard. Because. Get rid of the word because in your vocabulary when it comes to making excuses why you can't do something or why something won't work out for you. What would happen if you actually just fucking tried to do it? Have you tried that before? The devil I know is better than the devil I don't? Girl, grow the fuck up, bro. Get up off the fucking floor and stop being a doormat, sis. Please. Lesson number 3 on what lessons to carry into 2025. No spinning the block, aka no more second fucking chances. Not even second chances. Endless fucking chances. Giving the same person 2, 3, or even 15 chances just keeps you stuck in a cycle of disappointment and embarrassment and shame and anger and guilt. Let 2025 be the year you say enough and I make room for better. Yo, positive affirmations are one of the greatest tools for personal development and healing, especially when it comes from healing from toxic relationships and abuse and trauma. You got to rewire the way that you normally think about things. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm delulu, like y'all love to talk about. And I'm not being like delusional or like just daydreaming and living in la la land. But I think it's really important for people to stop fucking giving people chances who've consistently shown you that their behavior is not changing. It doesn't matter if it's that shitty fucking relationship where that man is constantly putting his hands on you and cheating on you and lying to you. Let me tell you something. I remember 2018, quick story time. I had broken up with that ex that I talk about a lot. I was with for almost 9 years on and off. And this particular breakup, we were broken up for more than 6 months. Like I thought this was going to be the end of it, but we still lived in the same state and we still hung around the same people and went to the same places. Leanne in 2018 was a savage. Didn't they tell you that I was a savage? I was on the dating apps. I was in the streets. I was talking to this one dude. I thought he was going to be my man. And I had ended up dyeing my hair blonde. Yes, this girl was a baddie blonde balayage babe. Insert picture here. And then, best friend at the time, her birthday was around the holidays. And that was the time when Leanne was outside. She was in the streets. I went to the club to celebrate my best friend's birthday. Hair laid, makeup slayed. Go to the club. Haven't seen my ex in about 7 months. Guess who's at the club? And I knew that he was going to be there because this was the club that we fell in love. It's the club that started it all. He sees me, I see him. I got my little drink in my hand. I'm cute. I'm dancing. My bestie. Yeah, bitch, we dancing. I'm twerking. She's twerking. We twerking. Some dude tried to come up behind me. At one point, I was like, whoa, my ex is over there. Chill. He was peeping. He saw. Eventually, it was at midnight, Christmas morning. My best friend at the time is a Christmas Eve baby. Midnight strikes, comes up to her, gives her a hug and a kiss. We are taking shots. Then he comes over to me and he touches my hair. And he's like, oh, I see you went blonde now. He spun the block. We got back together. January 2019, we got back together. April of 2019, I moved from my hometown to Florida for a new job. He was supposed to come with me. He never did. I broke up with him in May 2019. And in September of 2019, he had a new girlfriend who was pregnant. He proposed to her. They bought a house. And I think they're married. 4 months after I walked away from an 8.5 year long relationship. So stop giving these motherfuckers 17,000 chances. Let go of these fucking bums in 2025. Because I promise you, their next victim is right behind you. Literally, you're going to blink and he's going to be fucking engaged already with child. Okay? No more spinning the block in 2025. Lesson number 4 for you to carry into 2025. A situation won't change until you're ready to make it change. No amount of advice or outside pressure will matter until you decide you're done accepting less. Make 2025 the year you get sick and tired of being sick and tired and choose something different. We're halfway through. The 5th lesson for you to carry into 2025 is the first step to true healing is acceptance. Facing the truth of what happened, who hurt you, and who they truly are is what you need to do in order to start your healing journey. Only by accepting reality for what it is, not what you think it is, but accepting reality for what it actually is, can begin to chart a new path forward for your healing. Acceptance is not giving up. It is about stepping into your power. Once you realize what the fuck your life is and where you are, that's when you're able to start making a plan in order for you to start changing your life. But it's not going to happen overnight. And that goes back to the very first point that we talked about that wasn't even on my list. Stop giving up before you see the thing that you're working so hard to become or to be or to do or to have. This is a marathon. It is not a race. And then if you need help, I'll talk about in a little bit how I can help you. Number 6 lesson to carry into 2025. Being alone is better than being fucking miserable. My anxious attachment baddies, check in. I'm a recovering anxious attachment, okay? Shout out to my anxious attachments and my recovering anxious attachment. You do not know your attachment style. I can put a link in the show notes for you guys. I want you women, especially in 2025, to trade fear of being lonely for peace and for possibility and for stability. Y'all, I love my fucking routine that I have right now by myself, for myself. And I love the fact that I don't have to answer to anyone or check in or talk about my day or ask about them. I'm such in a selfish era right now. I don't give a fuck about what you got going on, sir. Leave me the fuck alone. I don't want a partner right now. I'm so good being alone. And I want women to understand that it is okay for you to fucking be alone. You'd rather stand strong on your own than bend to a relationship that drains your soul. Alone time can be a gift and not a punishment. Like that Tyler Perry movie, I can do bad all by myself, babe. And I do not need anyone else fucking bringing me down because your girl has been down bad. But the change has been slow. Jesus Christ, I've been on this journey for 4 years and it feels like 40. And I'm only 36, right? But it's happening. And that's the important piece. Leave that dusty ass, dust mite, crusty, lusty, musty man alone in 2025 because you can do bad all by yourself. Lesson number 7 for you to take into 2025 is you're going to keep getting the same lesson over and over until you learn from it. If you've seen the same patterns repeating over and over again, this is the year to recognize the pattern, take accountability, and make a change. Do not carry old baggage into the new year. We got to unpack this one a little bit more because I have so many thoughts. And I said it before. It was the quote that I said before by Albert Einstein. And I say it all the time. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you keep seeing a repetitive, disrespectful pattern in your relationship, sis, it is time for you to start looking and understanding what the fuck is going on and not continuing to put your blinders because you're so in love. It's time for you to be like, sis, do you need contacts? Do you need LASIK? Do you need to clean your fucking windshield to see what the fuck is going on? The first step to healing is acceptance. Accept. Not fall in love with the motherfucking potential that you're thinking he or she is, but he's showing you shit. You think it's a pile of fucking gold and diamonds and rainbows and butterflies, but when you put the glasses on your fucking scalp, it's a pile of shit with maggots. Why the fuck are you staying in a shitty ass relationship? Because, again, why are we not comprehending? Why the fuck are you continuing the bullshit? How many times can we say the same thing? Lesson number 8 of what to carry with you into 2025. And shout out to the late, great, amazing American poet, Maya Angelou. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, babe. Stop ignoring the red flags. Stop making excuses. In 2025, I want you to choose to trust your intuition and protect your peace from day one. It's another way of saying have standards, boundaries, and block a motherfucker and move on. That's what you need to do in 2025. Number 9, you cannot heal in the same environment that makes you sick. What that may mean is leaving a toxic home or family life, ending a draining friendship you've been wanting to let go of for years, or quitting that soul-sucking job, or walking away from that dusty, crusty, musty, toxic man or woman. Sometimes healing requires new surroundings that nurture your growth. You cannot heal in the environments that are meant to keep making you sick. The last lesson that I want you to carry into 2025 is the most important one. We've talked about a lot here. The most important person who will never, hopefully, turn their back on you is you. Let me explain. The ultimate truth for you to carry into 2025 is that you are your own anchor. No matter who leaves your life, who disappoints you, who breaks your heart, who betrays you, who disrespects you, who celebrates for you, who loves you, claims to love you, whoever you spend your days with, whoever you tell your deepest, darkest secrets to, or whatever changes in your life, the only person that you have at the end of the day is you. And I need you to honor that relationship above every other relationship that you have around you. That's why I stand on self-love, because the relationship you have with yourself is the one that will never leave you until the day you die. So have a fucking strong ass solid relationship with you that anyone else who comes into your existence is just an addition, because your cup is already overflowing with abundance and love for self. That is how you go from survive to thrive. When you have such a strong, solid foundation with self that nothing or no one, regardless of how good or bad the situation or person may be, they cannot break you, because you have built such a strong foundation for yourself, by yourself. Yes, of course, you had help with coaching, with therapy, with journaling, with whatever it is. But at the end of the day, who do you go down to sleep with in your bed? Who is inside of your mind? Who is inside of your heart and soul and spirit? Who is the one that is making the decisions that how you move and live and breathe and eat and talk and walk and what you do with your life? Who is making those decisions? If it's not you, but it's the situation or the person or the job or the family member or the friendship that you're in, let 2025 be the year that you say, I'm putting myself first unapologetically as fuck, and I don't care. And if it's not benefiting me first, you're not gonna be in my life. And I'm okay with walking away from this relationship or only having to deal with you in a certain dynamic. If I only have to speak to you about work, I know how to do that. But when it comes to connecting on a deeper level, I'm shutting that off because you've hurt me in the past. And I'm not going to allow that to happen anymore because I care about me. That's how you know that you're healing and you're growing. That is a sign of growth. That is a sign of self-love. That is a sign of confidence, self-respect, self-worth, self-love. Okay? In order to help you reflect on these lessons and step into 2025 with clarity, here are 3 journal prompts. Okay, question number 1. What is one pattern or relationship dynamic I'm leaving in 2024? And why am I done with that? Question number 2. How can I embrace acceptance as the starting point of my healing journey this new year? Question number 3. In what ways can I honor myself daily in 2025, ensuring I always have my own back? I want you to write these out in whatever way feels good for you. And I want you to remember that these prompts can guide your transition from surviving in 2024 to truly thriving in 2025. Sis, if these lessons spoke to your heart and you are ready to take even bolder steps into your healing journey in 2025, I want to share some ways on how I can work with you on that journey. I want you to check the description box below because I'm going to have links to all of these programs or workbooks or freebies or whatever. Okay, so just go to the show notes below. Everything will be there for you. I'm promoting my 90-day Breaking Free coaching program where I help women break free from toxic and abusive relationships and work on the most important relationship that they have, which is the one that they have with themselves. We will work one-on-one together in order for you to heal, grow, and thrive. Click the link below so you can learn more, and I want you to book your free discovery call with me. You tell me a little bit about you and your story, what you're looking for in regards to working with a coach, and we create a plan together in order for you to reach the goals that you're looking to make in 2025. Life coaching is completely different from therapy. Therapy is more about unpacking the past and dealing and healing from the trauma that you experienced, but coaching is focused more on creating a plan for the future version of yourself. I want to help you guys grow and thrive and walk away from the bullshit that's no longer serving you in this season. I want you to visit the link below to learn more about my 90-day Breaking Free coaching program. I have 2 freebies that I want you guys to download, and the only way that you can get them is if you sign up for my newsletter. It's first name, last name, email address. That's it. You can either get my Thrive Guide, which is my 10-step framework on how to start healing from abuse. So that is my Thrive Guide. That's my original OG baby. I love her so much. I'm also just created. My self-love blueprint is brand new. It is a 7-day challenge on how to learn how to fall in love with yourself in just 1 week. You are going to learn how to fall in love with yourself using this challenge in a week. Link below. It's free. First name, last name, email address. That's it. Lastly, I have my Breaking Free workbook. It is an in-depth step-by-step guide on how to break free from toxic and abusive relationships. Literally, I'm giving you guys the blueprint on how to break free from bullshit and love yourself enough to walk away from bullshit and to never deal with the shit that I talked about earlier in this conversation ever again in your life. And it's lifetime access. Once you download it, you have it forever. I really want to just continue giving you different options in regards to what people can afford. I also have a brand new sponsorship package. If you're interested in learning more about how you can sponsor this show, and in return, I'm going to help you promote your business, your platform on my brand. I'm going to drop that in the description below to learn more about my podcast sponsorship opportunity. I want to thank you guys so much for this amazing season opener. I can't believe this is season 4. I am so excited to start recording with guests again. I have such an amazing lineup of new people to introduce to you guys, but I'm also doing something a little bit different with the show this year. I'm going to be implementing a lot more of my coaching sessions, and I'm going to be doing a lot more solo episodes because I took a poll. Content creators, we got to do some market research and we got to ask the people what they want. Sometimes it's not just about you. Sometimes you got to switch the business plan up a little bit. I asked people what kind of content are they interested in seeing more of. A lot of y'all said either guests or a mix of guests and solo. But I want to start mixing in more of my personality, more of my flavor. I want people to see more of Leanne on her own. I really just want to remind you guys that these lessons are not just words. It's not just a thought, a what if, a maybe. I don't know if I'll get there. They're reminders that you're allowed to choose yourself. Okay? You're allowed to refuse what no longer serves you, and you're allowed to step into the new year ready to thrive. No more survival, sis. No more fucking just getting by. Like, it's time to step into the bad bitch version of you. And as we move into 2025, I want you to think about the patterns you're leaving behind and what new standards you're setting for yourself. I just want to encourage you to embrace 2025 as the year you fully own your worth, your choices, and your future. I love you guys so much. Please, please, please let me know what your biggest takeaway was during this conversation. I know it was a long one, but I had a lot to talk about. I've missed y'all so much, and I hope you guys missed me too. And if you did, I would love if you could leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify. I want you to like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. All the links are available in the description box below. And until next time, keep glowing, growing, and what? Thriving. You got this, sis. Love you.